All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to this 4-hour, the last of the 4-hour sessions today. Welcome to the Excel Business Intelligence Virtual Chapter. We're excited you could join us today for Oz's session on Introduction to Data Cleansing with Get and Transform Power Query. This webinar series is brought to you in partnership with Excel TV and features 4 back-to-back sessions presented by Excel experts and host of the Excel TV. My name is Thomas LeBlanc, and I'm the virtual chapter leader of the Excel BI VC. And I have a few quick introductory slides before I hand it over to Oz. He'll be speaking for about 40 to 45 minutes, and then we'll move to the Q&A section where you can ask questions, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. Go ahead to the next slide. All right, so if you need assistance during this session, you want to put your questions in the question pane, which is located on the right side of your screen, and someone's going to assist you if you have a problem. The question pane is also where you're going to ask questions throughout the presentation, so feel free to enter your questions at any time, and once we get to the end of the session, there's a Q&A portion where we'll read your questions aloud to the speaker. You're able to zoom in and out on the presentation by using the zoom button that's located on the top of the presentation window. Please note that there's going to be a short evaluation at the end of the session. Your feedback is very important to us, so please take a moment to complete it. It's going to appear in your web browser. Go ahead to the next one. Let's go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
All right, so this webinar series is brought to you in partnership with Excel TV and the Excel Business Intelligence Virtual Chapter of the PASS community. Excel TV is a live broadcast where Excel and analytics are discussed in a casual format. Join the host for topics, tips, and news related to Excel every other Tuesday at excel.tv, which is in the left portion of this slide. On the right side is an invitation to the Excel Business Intelligence Virtual Chapter. We feature sessions on all things Excel related to business intelligence, including advanced predictive and prescriptive analytics. Join us on this Thursday at noon Central for Devon Night session using Power BI parameters and templates. You can register online, and there's the website link on the right side of the slide, excelbivc.sequelpass.org. And now I'll turn it over to Oz.
Right. Hey there. I'm having a little bit of a problem. I thought about turning my camera off because you were going in and out. So let me know if you have any problems with my audio. All right?
Will do.
Okay.
And like I said, probably turning it off might be a better option for now because people
Yeah.
are putting audio is cutting out in the call-in number instead, and there is no call-in number.
Uh-huh. Okay. Because even when I turned my camera off, it was cutting. You were cutting in and out. All right. So thanks for being here. Thanks, Thomas LeBlanc, for helping out here. I've been an Excel MVP since January 2015, and my world is, and this statement about being committed to data literacy is, because I've worked with data for over 15 years now. I've worked with clients, I teach workshops. I've seen that people could think about data in a better way. Say when they're comparing lists, they need to compare it in both directions and not just and make a master list. They need to think about the kind of junk that could be in there and think about data quality before they start doing things. So that's really where I'm at, and I've said on videos and stuff that I don't care if people manage their data on their fingers and toes. It's accurate and they're thinking about data in the proper way. And Yep, with Bill Jelen, I wrote Guerrilla Data Analysis Second Edition, and I focus more on YouTube now. I admitted that I hate running a blog, but I love making video. So since about January, I focused more on my YouTube channel. And I moved here from Chicago, Illinois. After 19 years living there, I'm in Portland, Oregon, and this month is 2 years. All right, and here is where you can find me, and this is a screenshot of my YouTube channel. Right, intro to data cleansing with Git and Transform. All right, so my passion with this, I think it's important to say, is because nothing happens without clean data, nothing. And what I've seen, and I've not done a lot of hardcore analysis, so you won't get stats from me or dashboards, because a lot of times my clients, they just want to know, of 20 projects, how many are on time, how many are late. Dashboard needed for that. But if the data is a mess, it's still got to be cleansed in order to get down to that answer that they might be trying to just get down to a list of our products, and the ones that are out of stock, how many have orders, and meaning that customers are waiting for out of stock items. And we aren't going to worry about the out of stock ones that don't have orders tied to them. Okay, again, no dashboard necessary, but somebody's got to clean that stuff up and get at the answer. And down here, this is really what I think is important, is real people have to deal with the consequences. They don't care if you know how to do a VLOOKUP or if you can do Power Query or write VBA code. They just want to know, when is my out-of-stock item going to finally show up? You know, I've dealt with all kinds of things. I worked with an insurance company, and somebody called up and said, look, getting calls about the night my baby died. Get it together, people. I'm tired of this. And so I care about her. And that's why I'm so passionate about keeping data clean. And yeah, we are the true heroes, the ones who can clean data. Those pretty people who make dashboards and stuff, those are your guitarists at the front of the band. But, you know, we're the ones in the back doing all the real work. And you can tell them I said that, all right? Okay, so here's a brief overview of what's going to happen. And yeah, I already started telling you about how this started for me. I just dealt with a lot of clients who kept calling, and I realized that their data was a mess. The data in the system. I looked at people and figured, you know, asked, why didn't you report this? Why didn't you do this? Or why did you do it that way? Well, they're looking at reports there, and the reports are obsolete, or they were built to do something else, and they aren't accurately capturing this ad hoc way that we're trying to use this report. So it led to me saying, okay, just give me raw data out of the database and I will deal with it at my desk. So, you know, I'm a big proponent of going rogue in that way, because if you get to be somebody's hero responsibly, then let's do it. So getting Transform, it used to be called Power Query, and before that it was called like Power Search or something. It's relatively new with Excel, and in Excel 2016 is built into Excel. With 2010, you have to download an add-in and install it. You get that at the Microsoft website, 2010 and 2013. And it's great for shaping and cleansing data. Things like text to columns, I hardly use that anymore, because text to columns can help you split columns, add a delimiter, but text to columns will split a delimiter at all instances of it. So if you have a lot of colons and you want to split by the last colon, you can't do that with text to columns, but you can do it easily with getting transform, and you will see that. So, all right, let's look at some examples. The first one is going to be matching lists. Okay. So, Thomas, can you tell me, can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right. So here is a common thing that I often had to deal with is what was sent and what was received. Anytime there's a list where they, in a perfect world, they should be matching, well, you know, a lot of times they don't. So where are they mismatched? All right. So we're going to do a query, and we're going to do that. We go to data, and here is getting transformed and the various ways that you can do what's called a query. And we're going to do it from tables since our data sets are in tables. All right, so see, let's split. See, we've got these names, but then these have IDs, and then these have just names. Right, so we already have a problem in comparing these lists. Right, so I'm going to put my cursor in here and then start my query from table. And then here is my query editor. Here are the names, and I want to get rid of these codes. They don't matter to us for what we're about to do. Okay, going to highlight that, split column by delimiter and by that comma, and we can leave it at each occurrence. Okay, and now we can get rid of this column. All right, and let's call this just the names query. Good. Okay, and I'm going to close and load this as a connection only. All right, so now we have our sent column, and we want to do a query there from table. All right, and we don't have to do anything with this one. All right, and let's call this sent. And I'm going to close and load this as a connection only. Okay. So I need to get rid of this one. This is from when I was practicing. All right. So now what I want to do is what's called an anti-join. I want to find out what's in this list, in the sent list, that's not in this list. All right, so now I'm going to go to New Query, Combine Queries, Merge. So now I want to go to the names. I want to put sent actually up top and names at the bottom because I want to do the left anti-join. And I'll need to match up this name and this name. It says, okay. Now, This is telling us what's sent but not received. So let's look at this. Gene course B is not on this list. So now we know these 4 are the ones that we have to deal with. We have to either resend them or figure out what happened. But that's a pretty easy thing to do, and we can close and load this to the workbook. All right, and there is our list. And a beautiful thing about getting transformed is now say that, okay, now we have new information about information that was sent, and our table absorbs it. And now we go to data and refresh. Well, let's see. Now Stephen is the only one that's missing now. All right. See, I wish I could see everybody. See if there are any questions if I move too fast. All right. So we saw we were able to split a column. We started a query from table, and we did a right anti-join, or a left anti-join. All right. Now I want to show you parsing text strings. Now here we want to parse the start and end times and the site. So I just made up colors as sites. So everything is all in one column and it needs to be split apart. Okay, now we got to look. We can split by the colon because, okay, we want to get the site separated from the times, but we have to be careful of the colons and the times. We have to be careful about using spaces as a delimiter, and particularly because, say, neon pink, it's got a space here and then space, so it creates problems. And I'm going to show you in Getting Transform a way that we can deal with this that we can't with text to columns. So here again, we'll go to data from table. And now we see that there is colon space. We can do that here. Split column by delimiter. Custom. Now, colon space. Okay. There it is. There it is. All right. So now let's split. Okay. I'm going to name this site. And let's split these times apart by delimiter, custom, space hyphen space. Okay. All right. Want to get rid of that. See what happened there. Space hyphen space. Okay, there we go. And Getting Transform automatically changed the format to a time. And if I wanted to change that, I could go to this icon to change it to currency, time, date, whatever there is. All right, and this I can get rid of. Okay, and notice over here, the steps are being recorded. So if we did have to go back and change something, if we determined that there was actually colon space, we could go back, hit this gear, and change it, and then step through and see the steps as we went through. Okay. And one thing I will show you while we're here, we can see that there's code that's being generated as we use this interface. We can see that. And here is the code. And people like Ken Pulls, Miguel Escobar, and Chris Webb, they are really heavy on using this M code and can, do a lot more once you can work with this code. Cancel. But I just wanted to show you that it's here. Okay. And we can close and load this to the workbook. And now if we wanted to do something with this data, it's useful to us now. Okay. And I'm going to just step you through this one. This was more involved. Let's say we have a lot of data, and this happens, say, when you copy a column of data off of a web page and paste it into Excel, and then you need it to be useful. Okay, so we want it to look like this, that apartment A is a 2-bedroom, it's got parking, and it's got a washer dryer, but it's stacked up like this. Okay. So over here, we have our queries, and I'm going to look at those. So this is the raw data. Let's see, go back. So here's the data as it came in. So then we do what's called a fill down in order to get A on every row until we get to B, and B on every row until we get to C. And you can right click, fill down. All right, there are some tricky ways of doing that in native Excel, but Getting Transformed has a regular way of doing that. Okay, so we filled down. I duplicated the column, changed the type because I wanted to turn this into dollars so that I can get these errors and get rid of, the square footage and everything. So I'm starting to peel this down. So I replaced the errors with null. Then filled that down, duplicated the column again, changed the type, replaced the errors again with null, and I filtered, filtered to get rid of nulls, removed the column, then added a column. Says if the details copy contains SQFT, then bring me back the details copy. So here's what's happening. Yep, I wanted just the square footage brought over and not this other data. And then fill down, rearrange the columns, filter the rows, okay, rename the columns. All right, so that was in order to peel out the square footage and the rent. Okay, now we have the details. And what happened with this one, we start with the source, do the fill down again, duplicate, okay, so we're going down, and ultimately what I want to get is a unique list of everything that's here. You know, I only want one parking and one washer dryer, okay, so that's ultimately what I got here, and I added that index column. So now we put it all together. We've merged the two data sets using a left outer join with the apartments up top and the details down below. Expand this column that has the index numbers. Then this is suite. We're going to pivot this and use don't aggregate, because when you do a pivot table, it starts doing math on you. It starts counting or doing sums or doing averages, but we don't want that. We want just the data to stay in the cells. So that's what happens when we go from here to here. It did the pivot table, but it kept our data inside. So we reorder the columns, and that's what we were looking for. Apartment C has 665 square feet. It does have parking with it, and it does not have a washer dryer in the unit. All right, let's see. And let's show you another example of unstacking data. Now this is a little less complex, but it uses something called a modulo. This data came out stacked up, but it's consistent. We have a name, a birthday, and a region for everybody. With the previous example, we didn't. Okay, so again, we start a query from table. Here's the source. Add an index column, and then we insert a modulo. All right, and that is, okay, so highlight there. Okay, so there's your modulo. Let's look at it. Okay, so I put a value of 3 because we have 3 bits of data for each record. Right, so it's giving me 012, 012, 012, so that I have something that I can use to get this going horizontal instead of vertical. So then I pivoted a column. Okay. Then a fill up. Okay. Because we want Pacific to go up and Mountain to go up. Want the times to go up. Then filter out null. Remove unneeded column. That index column is gone. Change the type because we don't need the times in there, just the date. And then rename columns. And then we have our data in a useful way and no longer in that big stack. So there's a lot. There's a lot You can let me know if I went too fast or if there's something you have questions about. So in home, you've got split columns. You can replace values. A lot of times, I have deliberately created errors so that I could replace the error with null or something else. You can transform. This is where you have your unpivot, pivot. We can close and load this. And here is our data ready for us to use it. All right. So those are the 4 examples that I wanted to share with you. And next, let's go into PowerPoint again. So there are some things to watch out for. Okay, so lots of data cleansing features. And you can import from tables, folders, CSV files. And let me show you that. So there's your from table. You can pull it from file. You can set up a dedicated folder. And I show a lot of these on my YouTube channel. Right? You can go to another workbook and bring data in so that you can cleanse it, merge it, reshape it. Here's your merge and append, and here's where you can just launch the query editor on its own. Okay, but now problems with getting transformed is that there isn't an undo. So if you are in a query and hit that X and delete a step, there is no hidden undo to put it back. So let me show you that. I want to edit this query. And if I decided I didn't want to add this index, if I hit this X, it's just gone. Now I can modify, as you saw, but I can't undo if I hit this X. Okay, and getting transformed is great with working with the entire data set, entire columns, entire rows. But if you want to refer to a particular cell, that's tough. I've shown on my YouTube channel about how you can break the data set down into several queries and then have those queries do some comparisons. But inside native Excel, you can be on row 10 and have Excel compare row 10 and row 11. Not so in Power Query. So that becomes a process issue. If you have to cleanse data on a regular basis, is it worth doing everything in Getting Transformed, or do you do part of it in native Excel so that your Getting Transformed part is easier? So you got to look at that. And then M-code doesn't have IntelliSense, at least not right now. So M-code is unforgiving. So if something is not capitalized right, if you start typing something and you think you know this function that you want to use, you get no help. So you got to know that before you really truly fall in love with Getting Transformed and get a divorce from Excel. Okay. Right, and here's some resources. The M is for Data Monkey, and the author is Miguel and Ken, and then my website, of course, and then Chris Webb. So, questions? Any questions?
I'm sorry, I was muted there and trying to
Uh,
talk. We have the first question is back to your first example.
mm-hmm.
Alex says, I thought there were 3 entries for Gene, courses A, B, and C, but we added only 1 instance for Gene and all 3 disappeared from the table.
Okay,
Do
let's
you
go
recall that
back.
one?
I'm going to go back. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Delete. Okay. So here is Gene here. So we've got Gene B and C and Gene A. Right, okay. So what happened? Good question. Thanks for catching that. See what's going on here. I may have to dig into that to see only rows only in second, rows only in first. That's what we wanted. I'm going to have to get you an answer on that.
Okay, the next question is what version of Excel are you using?
It's the 2016 preview.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Couple of comments. 5 Soracas,
Oh,
definitely
okay.
funky. And
All
then
right.
finally, Jason gets this question. Any features you would add or change in Power Query to make it better?
Something that would make it easier to deal with single cells, because a lot of times a column is shifted off by just one. And you need to be able to say, okay, let me take this one cell and delete it and shift everything up. But that's really hard to do right now. But that's the feature that I would like to add.
Okay, here's a long one from, let me see who this is, from Gaston. Hey Oz, what is the best way to combine, merge, append tables of the same structure in a workbook that is of the same structure? The sheets are all in the same workbook and have the same headers and same data types. As a
Mm-hmm.
scenario, assume you have 4 region tables of east, west, north, south sales data where the sheets are isolated to each region and the headers are region, month end date, salesman, sales amount.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
what best way to merge and append similar tabs?
Right. Okay. And I have videos on exactly that. And there, okay, you can set up a dedicated folder, and that's good when you have to do this on a regular basis, that you'll get new data. You can set up a dedicated folder and then point your query to that folder, and it will take a workbook and open it up and give you a preview of, is this the data? All right. And if you've got multiple sheets, it will even give you a choice of the sheets that you want to bring in. Right. And so it's a very nice wizard that will take you through and help you clean that up and bring all the data in and bring it together. And I am wondering if I can, well, how can I send a link? Because I don't want to spend too.
I
Okay.
sent the guy the YouTube link. Would that do?
Okay. Oh yeah.
So guys, to
Yeah.
check your answered questions. Actually, I'll send that to everybody. I'm gonna send to all, and everybody should have that YouTube link that you have in your webinar at the very beginning had YouTube/C/Oz de Soleil data.
Yep.
Okay, so I just sent that to everybody. Regarding my first answer, I think I figured it out. It does only the anti-join based on the first column, which is the name only, and does not consider the course. Another person said, assume the four tables are you need to join on name and course. That's why it's not working.
Yes. Ay. Materials.
Yeah, I think what you have to do in Power Query.
And then hold down Control.
Oh, there you go.
And you've got the 1 and 2.
Yay! All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you can thank David and Alex.
Yes. Thank you, David and Alex. All right.
Can you go back to your slides about 2 or 3 before the questions and get the link to resources up again?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I'm going through them. All right, next question is from Mike. Excel 2010, add-ins download for Get and Transform. I thought you said you could download Get and Transform for Excel 2010. Where did you get it?
It's called Power Query back then. Okay. So let's okay. Power Query.
All right, so they go to get Power Query in Excel, not Get and Transform.
Right. It's called Power Query in 2010 and 2013.
All right.
Right.
Power Query. All right.
Okay.
Next, what's the earliest version of Excel does Power Query run on?
2010, and not on Mac either. So
all right.
That's where you'd go to get the Power Query.
All right, can we get replay on this seminar? Yes, this is being recorded, and in 2 to 3 days, if you check back on the Excel BI VC website, you'll see a link to our YouTube channel to see the replay. I'm sorry, I'm typing that in.
No problem, no problem.
Meeting archives, and I'll send that to everybody.
Okay, and I can put the that download link in, can't I?
Yeah, you can send it to me and I can put it on our website.
Okay.
All right, you got it. Thanks. Thanks. Oops, I lost my window. All right, you got another thanks, another wow. Do you suggest they change the name back to Power Query?
You know, that's a mess. I don't know who's doing that. I don't know if they think that's funny or what. But, you know, so a neat thing about it is they keep adding features. You know, there are some really cool features that have shown up. Like, here, let me give you a look. Conditional columns. Conditional columns are really cool. You know, they're basically if statements, but, you know, they take you through and you don't have to think about the parentheses and everything and missing commas. So these are really nice. But they showed up within the past few weeks. And then this icon changed. You know, I did a video once, and then a week later, the icon was different. You know, so I don't know. I don't know if this drinking alcohol over there, what's going on, but
That's,
something's happening.
yeah, it's
I,
typical of Microsoft. Yeah. So you guys got
yeah,
to kind of get used to it and go with the flow.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's constantly updating, and lots of really good stuff being added, but also stuff shifting around. And I hope they just, you know, so should they go back to Power Query? I say, it's getting transformed. Now, please leave it alone.
Yep. All right. So, by what means did you send us the link? I did not
Uh,
receive it in email. I sent the link to reply in the question. So you'd have to, I'll send it to that person directly, Don, and it'll be posted with the video if you want to watch the video.
okay,
Is Power
okay.
Query available in any version of Excel on Macs?
No,
No.
and that's the bad thing. Bad thing, 'cause I have clients that are Mac only, and then, you know, I hate it because then I have to write VBA code to go get some of this stuff to work. I don't like writing code.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the last question, Oz. You want to go back to the slides and we'll go ahead and close the session down?
All right, all right.
So again, everybody, this is being recorded. If you go to the
Yeah.
excelbivc.sequelpass.org site, there's a meeting archives, and you can get the archive to the link. It'll link to our YouTube channel. So all these recordings will be up there. Can you go down to past the questions for me, Oz?
Yeah, yes, yes. I just want to remind everybody
Oh,
that when you clean data, you're the key to it all.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
nothing happens if that stuff ain't clean.
Yeah. One more. Yeah, thanks for attending. And upcoming this Thursday on the Excel BI virtual chapter is Devin Knight presenting using Power BI parameters and templates. It's August 18th at noon Central. You can register today by going to the excelbivc.sequelpass.org website. We have a meeting archives tab, which has all the recordings of previous BI virtual chapter meetings, which are all online. And you can also go to excel.tv, correct? And see
Right.
most of your recordings. And then his YouTube channel as well. So all these are recorded, so don't worry about not being able to watch everything. You should be able to watch it on a replay.
All right.
Thanks, Oz, and we'll go ahead and shut the meeting down.
All right.
Thank you for your time, buddy.
Thank you.
I hope I
All
get to
right.
meet you one day.
Yes, I hope so too.
Have
Yeah.
a good one, Oz.
All right. Yep.